Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Arnaud Delapierre and today we're going to unravel a topic that continues to astonish many fans of economics and finance: the collapse of Enron. This company was seen as a rising star in energy in the United States, to the point of being admired by many Wall Street analysts. Yet, in just a few months, it collapsed like a house of cards. We will see how Enron went from a recognized company to a symbol of accounting fraud. Buckle up, because we are going to dissect this case in depth. From the behind the scenes of energy transactions to the opaque financial setup, there's a lot to discuss to understand this debacle. All that without complicated jargon. We'll keep it simple, direct, and intrusive. Let's get started. When Enron comes to life in 1985, it is the result of the merger between Houston Natural Gas and Internorth, two companies specializing in gas distribution. Ken Lay, then CEO, does not hesitate to upend, let's say, the course to rapidly grow the company. The objective? To become a reference in energy capable of offering gas and electricity on a large scale, all while relying on innovation. This ambition is reflected in bold strategies like the creation of energy trading markets. At the start, everything seems to be going wonderfully. The company gains notoriety and its shares regularly increase in value. Thanks to its innovative spirit, Enron sees an extraordinary opportunity in the deregulation of energy markets. To stand out, its leaders bet on aggressive diversification. They do more than just sell gas. They also venture into providing electricity, trading futures contracts, and even some projects abroad. The aspect of growth at any cost attracts the attention of investors who rush to buy Enron stock. The reported profits are impressive. The balance sheet seems clean, and the employees are immersed in a corporate culture that values risk. Everything projects the image of unfailing success. Before continuing, let me tell you about an application I appreciate for its efficiency. It's called Notrade, available on iOS and Android. This free platform offers stock and crypto trading signals that are very easy to follow. Its pleasant interface highlights clear information without overwhelming the user. It features concise analysis, real-time alerts, and regular tracking of different markets. Personally, I find that it can help in making more informed decisions, even when short on time. Feel free to try it if you are looking for a quick solution, intuitive and moreover free to follow all these movements and signals. Let's get back to the point. Despite the apparent solidness, of Enron, certain warning signs emerge over time. The company uses elaborate accounting structures to hide debts, and they embellish the results. These methods, including the use of off-balance sheet entities, allow it to hide losses while artificially inflating its profits. On the surface, the annual reports remain impressive, which boosts investor confidence. But behind the scenes, the situation is much less rosy. They play with the numbers to make everything appear profitable. As long as the markets do not ask questions, this system continues to function. But the tension is starting to rise. Enron would not have gone this far without the tacit approval of certain financial institutions and the opportunism of its audit firm, Arthur Andersen. Several banks made agreements allowing Enron to inflate its balance sheet in exchange for lucrative fees. You see this scheme. As for the auditors, they often turned a blind eye to obvious irregularities, perhaps enticed by the generous fees the company paid them. This silent complicity allowed the complex structure to multiply and multiply, creating a profitable facade. In an atmosphere of apparent profitability, few people cared to deeply analyze the validity of the figures and the viability of the model. The public authorities did not truly curb Enron in its wild ascent. The innate deregulation of the energy sector aimed to stimulate competition, but also opened the door to questionable practices. The powerful influence networks of Enron's management, with connections reaching up to the highest levels of the state, strengthened or were left quarterly reports, although very technical, were hardly challenged. Regulators were little concerned with the increasing complexity of the balance sheet. Ultimately, everyone viewed Enron as a success story, without really suspecting or admitting that behind the curtain there might be perhaps an accounting comedy. Kenneth Lay, the founder, maintained the image of a visionary capable of spotting good deals. Jeff Skilling, the CEO's right-hand man, pushed the culture of risk even further. establishing a system of market price valuation, even for contracts barely signed. When Andrew Fastow, the chief financial officer, was the one who mastered accounting engineering, he had the reputation of being a genius in financial arrangements, creating entities that appeared independent but were in reality closely linked to Enron. Everyone played their role with confidence, and no one seemed ready to lift the veil on the abuse. When rumors of wrongdoing began to circulate, confidence eroded. Investors, once so enthusiastic, suddenly withdrew their funds. Enron stock, which was worth, $90, fell to a few cents in a flash. Rating agencies, previously lenient, suddenly downgraded the company's rating, cutting off easy access to credit. At the same time, the media revealed the extent of the suspicious transactions, creating a climate of widespread panic. The executives tried to reassure, but nothing worked. The machine had stalled, and the hidden debts eventually exploded into the open. In a matter of weeks, this energy giant had filed for bankruptcy, causing what was at the time the largest bankruptcy in American history. The employees, who often held a large part of their savings in Enron stock, lost everything. Arthur Andersen, implicated for document destruction, saw its reputation destroyed and had to cease most of its activities. Federal investigations revealed the extent of the accounting manipulations, provoking public outrage, public opinion. In the aftermath, the leaders had to be held accountable, and high-profile trials resulted in quite varied convictions. The story of Enron reveals the dangers associated with limitless ambition and flawed governance. The shareholders, blinded by the pursuit of quick profits, did not exercise control over strategic decisions. The boards of directors did not demonstrate the expected vigilance, preferring to rely on the dazzling results announced by management. This downfall also addresses the responsibility of the auditors, who must validate the accounts without complacency. When ethics take a back seat, there is always a colossal risk for the entire system. Enron has thus become the very symbol of a widespread failure of internal control. Under the shock of the Enron scandal, the American Congress passed new laws to strengthen financial transparency, such as the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This legislation imposed strict standards for executive responsibility, the robustness of audits, and the communication of reliable information to investors. It placed CEOs and CFOs under formal verification obligations, under penalty of criminal sanctions. In other words, it became riskier to hide losses and manipulate accounts. For many companies, this change in the legislative framework served as a sharp reminder. Trust, well, that is earned. The direct victims were thousands of employees and retirees whose savings were tied to Enron's financial success. When the company collapsed, its employees saw their accounts evaporate in record time. Some lost their jobs and their retirement plans at the same time, finding themselves in a frankly precarious situation. For the Texan sphere, where Enron was a major figure, this moment also shattered the image of an industrial icon. The families involved experienced a deep sense of betrayal, as they had been promised a bright future. In the end, many realized that blind trust can lead to ruin. Upon closer inspection, several lessons can still be learned from this scandal. First, the obsession with growth at any cost can make one forget the very foundations of sound management. Then, accounting opacity and excessive use of external entities can feed an illusion of prosperity. Finally, the control exercised by regulatory and audit bodies must always be maintained to avoid crossing the line between financial innovation and fraud. Understanding the workings of the Enron fiasco is also about grasping the importance of a corporate culture that does not sacrifice ethics on the altar of quick profit. Finally, the story of Enron shows us how a gigantic structure can collapse if the pillars of transparency and integrity are neglected. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope it has shed light on the mechanisms that led to this financial disaster. If you appreciated this analysis, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video to support my work. Also, share your thoughts in the comments. I am always curious to know your opinion. We will meet again very soon for a new topic, always with the desire to provide you with useful information.